Hello, JMU Musical Theater. This is Emma Scobe doing a voiceover for the props tour that Lindsay Canyon and I did. The original audio got deleted, so sad, but I'm going to be talking through all the things we talked about. So to start, we're going to talk about the sustainability. So SpongeBob was a show that was around 25% recycled material, meaning that most of the props were made out of already reused items. So pool noodles, garbage, old things from prop storage. We took those and refurbished them to become all of the props that were in the show. So for normal shows, you spend a lot of money on materials from like Amazon and stuff and buy a lot of props. For this, we refurbished almost everything we used in the production. So for many of the props, we added specific details that the audience may not be able to see from a distance. But for instance, this prop was a bottle of Jack Daniels that was turned into Kelp Daniels that Mrs. Puff would drink on the show. And then this is a refurbished Starbucks cup that says Starfish Coffee on it to be SpongeBob themed. So there's many small details like that on many of the props used. Often that just makes it feel more real for the actors, more real for the designers themselves, and if you're the couple seats that are up close can see those details and be like, whoa, that's so cool. So for this show, obviously we had the two assistant designers and Lindsay doing props, but what you might also not know is that there's many prop shop employees who helped us a lot during the show. Abby Kelly, who's also the stage manager, she's a prop shop employee. She helped with so many of the details on the different props and helping us pull stuff and knowing what was being used during rehearsals and how it was being used. Heidi, who was also the makeup designer for SpongeBob, they did a lot of great detailing on the different props. Shannon McCarthy did the painting for Karen and the painting for Patrick's rock. Matt McPherson, who was also an actor in the show, he helped out with a lot of the different props as well. And now here I'm talking about Gary. Gary is obviously SpongeBob's pet snail. We made Gary out of two different types of foam that we then carved to be the shape of the snail, and then we covered it in foam core, which we then had to sand down and then paint over. That whole process took around 5 days, about 30 to 35 hours. We did this the week before school started. The stalks on the eyes are made of wood that we sanded down, and the body is obviously painted, and then there's a cloth on the bottom that is cut to look like the slime, and Gary runs on an RC car that Malik drives on the stage. It's a really cool design for Gary. On the original Broadway show, they just had him on a skateboard, and we wanted to do something that would make it feel even more cartoony and fun. This is Karen. Karen is the robot in the show. She is made out of cardboard that I said earlier was painted by Shannon on the sides. Inside, she has a light that is audio activated and that turns on and off when Emily is speaking next to her. So here Canyon is showing the sand TV that he made. So this was made out of an old acting block that we took cloth with paint covered in glue and draped it over to give the effect of it being sand-like. It was then painted and added lots of texture to it. The antenna are made out of two old fishing poles that he refurbished, and on the front there is a screen from a meme from SpongeBob on the front. It's a really cool prop that he made. It's entirely on wheels, which is helpful for the actors to bring it on and off the stage. It's just a really cool prop that used a lot of old refurbished materials to be created. Right here, he is pointing to the bowl that he used on the top of the TV to create the TV shape, and then on the back, there is a cardboard box that is used to create the effect of the back of the TV. Here, Canyon is showing the beginner's guide for his hypnosis DVD that he photoshopped. So he took a lot of images of like the fish from SpongeBob and some of the memes from the show and edited it to be on the DVD case. He is really good at Photoshop. He also designed the catalog for the Escape Pods Are Us. So he photoshopped that together and added lots of details that might not be seen if you're sitting further back in the audience. Here on stage right, we have the wonderful jetpack that Canyon and Lindsay made. It was made out of cardboard, and the top is made out of foam that were painted and carved to look like that. The bottom is made out of tissue paper and an old backpack for the straps. This prop had to be dropped on stage, so we had to make sure that it was not very easily breakable, which is a fun challenge when designing props, because props break pretty easily. So here we have the Krabby Patties. Those are made mostly out of foam, so the top and the bottom buns are both made out of foam that was carved and painted to look like a bun. And then the burger itself was also painted to look like a bun. The lettuce is old plastic bags that are spray painted to look like that. And on the top of the burgers, we have crumpled up foam that look like sesame seeds. So for the show, there were 150 various props that were used in the show. So this was a lot to navigate in terms of the tables backstage and all the various cabinets. Shout out to Abby Kelly for being an amazing stage manager and helping us manage all of that so much. This was a super fun show to work on, so creative, so fun. A lot of times with props, it's a lot of like pulling of things and buying things, and it wasn't as much creating. For this show, it was all creating so many fun cartoon things that we got to create, and overall, it was a great time. I had an amazing team. Shout out to Kenyon and Lindsay; they're the best. If you get to work with them, I would highly recommend it. Let's slay props.